What if, when Hollywood's most enigmatic star sits down for what should be a routine interview, only to find himself face to face with a host who seems determined to destroy his reputation on live television? What unfolds is a clash so explosive, so raw, that it leaves an entire studio audience speechless and ends with security being called to escort one of cinema's biggest names off the set. This is the story of Johnny Depp's catastrophic appearance on The View and how Whoopi Goldberg turned what should have been a promotional interview into a personal vendetta that shocked the entertainment world. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you think really happened behind the scenes. Now, let's get into it. The day had begun like any other at the View Studios in New York. Johnny Depp had arrived specifically for this interview, part of a media push for his latest indie film, a personal endeavor signaling his return to serious, dramatic roles after years entangled in courtroom drama and relentless public attention. His team had chosen The View for a reason. They wanted a space where Johnny could reflect openly on his creative journey and hard-earned comeback. But what unfolded was something entirely unexpected. Whoopi Goldberg had started her morning in what staff quietly described as one of her more volatile moods. She snapped at her glam squad and snapped again at assistants over trivial things. Some crew members later confessed they had rarely seen her this visibly agitated before airtime. Whispers circulated. Some blamed a negative review of her recent project. Others speculated about mounting friction with higher-ups at the network. Whatever the case, Whoopi arrived ready for a fight. Johnny, meanwhile, was his usual gracious self, chatting amiably with the backstage crew, complimenting staff, and charming the co-hosts with his signature blend of humility and humor. Joy Behar gushed afterward, calling him an absolute delight and one of the most courteous guests in years. Sarah Haynes noted how he admired her jewelry and asked sincerely about her children. Even Sunny Hostin, typically more restrained, was seen chuckling at his behind-the-scenes anecdotes. But Whoopi kept her distance. While her co-hosts relaxed around Johnny, she sat silently, reviewing her note cards, her focus so intense it cast a chill. When a producer came by to confirm the segment layout, she brushed them off with a curt wave and a sharp remark about knowing how to do her job. The episode began without incident. The panelists bantered over current events with their usual spark, but there was a distinct edge to Whoopi's tone that even the audience could pick up on. She seemed irritable, cutting off co-hosts mid-sentence, dismissing opinions with eye rolls and sarcasm. When the time came to welcome Johnny, the energy noticeably shifted. Joy's introduction was enthusiastic, painting a picture of an accomplished artist with a storied career and newfound creative fire. She praised his iconic performances, his musical pursuits, and his latest cinematic vision. Applause erupted as Johnny entered, giving a casual wave and flashing that familiar crooked grin. He settled into the guest seat with ease, blazer draped over a vintage tee, rings glinting under studio lights. His hair was loosely tied back, and his demeanor was calm, expectant. "Johnny Depp, everyone," Joy said warmly. "We're thrilled to have you. Huge fans." "The pleasure's all mine," Johnny replied, his voice low and gravelly. "I've always admired the way you ladies take on tough topics every day with courage and insight." Sarah jumped in, asking about the new film and what had drawn him to it. Johnny lit up as he described the storyline, a man grappling with pain and seeking redemption. He praised the script's heart, the director's vision, and the cast's synergy. His words came alive with conviction, clearly striking a chord with the table. Sunny chimed in, "It sounds deeply personal. Was there something in that role that connected with your own journey?" Johnny paused, thoughtful. "I think anyone who's been knocked down and had to rebuild understands. This character, he's about reclaiming identity after the world's tried to rewrite it." The audience was locked in. This was the Johnny Depp that audiences missed, sincere, reflective, and vulnerable. The interview was shaping up exactly what his team had envisioned. Then Whoopi spoke, for the first time since his arrival. "Well, that's a very convenient narrative. But let's talk about what really happened during those highly public legal battles. You expect us to just buy into this redemption arc without acknowledging the damage?" The set fell quiet. That question hadn't been on the script. Johnny's jaw tightened, but he kept calm. "The courts have spoken, Whoopi. I'm here today to talk about a film that I poured my soul into."
"Oh, please," she retorted, leaning in. "Your personal life isn't separate from your professional one. Your choices hurt real people, co-stars, family, crew. How do you answer for that?" Tension thickened. Joy attempted to steer things back, but Whoopi waved her off, clearly determined. Johnny's voice lowered, still steady. "I've never claimed to be perfect. I've taken ownership of my missteps, but I didn't come here to be blindsided by recycled allegations already addressed legally." Whoopi let out a laugh, but it was dry and bitter. "This isn't ambush. This is accountability. You want to sell your comeback story, but you don't want to deal with what actually happened." "I've answered hard questions," Johnny said, holding his ground. "What I won't do is sit through a smear campaign dressed up as journalism." The room was charged with discomfort. Sarah and Sunny exchanged concerned glances. Joy looked visibly distressed. Control room producers debated whether to cut to a break, but Whoopi wasn't finished. "Smear campaign?" she echoed, her voice rising. "You did that to yourself. You want empathy? Start with honesty." For the first time, Johnny's cool began to crack. He leaned forward, intensity growing. "The only destruction I see right now is what you're doing to this discussion. I came in good faith to celebrate my work, and you're twisting this into a vendetta." "Vendetta?" she snapped. "I don't even know you. But I do know that actions have consequences, and the people your actions impacted deserve better than this PR redemption tour." The co-hosts were now actively trying to de-escalate, but the confrontation had a momentum of its own. "You want to talk about consequences?" Johnny said, his voice sharper now. "What about the people who stood by me, who knew the truth and never wavered? Do they count for nothing, or are you only here to tear people down?" Whoopi slammed her palm on the desk, the thud echoing across the studio. The gasp from the crowd was audible. This wasn't uncomfortable television anymore, it was explosive. Johnny rose, slow and measured, fury just beneath the surface. He said, "Let's take a step back." The lighting cast sharp shadows across his face, intensifying his gaze. "I came here out of respect, for this show, and for you, Whoopi. But respect is mutual." Whoopi leaned back, her smirk icy. "Respect? That's rich, from someone who's shown so little of it to those closest to him." Joy tried again to shift the energy. "Maybe we can focus on the movie. Johnny, what was it like working with the director?" But Whoopi cut in, glaring. "No, Joy, we're not skipping past this. I'm done letting celebrities waltz in here and dictate how this goes. This isn't a puff piece." Johnny sat again, but his demeanor had changed, no longer open and relaxed. He looked ready to strike. "You know what, Whoopi? You are absolutely right about one thing. This is not a puff piece. This is something much worse. This is a hit job." "A hit job?" Whoopi laughed, but there was no warmth. "I am asking you legitimate questions that any real journalist would ask. If you cannot handle that, maybe you should not be doing interviews." "Legitimate questions?" Johnny repeated, voice rising.
You have not asked me a single question about my work, about my craft, about the things that actually matter. You have done nothing but attack me personally from the moment I sat down. That is not journalism. That is bullying." The word bullying hung in the air like a thunderclap. Whoopi's expression darkened immediately, and you could see the fury building behind her eyes. "Did you just call me a bully?" she asked, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper.